in Studio A.
And we're rolling.
This is Singer to Singer. I'm LaJuan Carter, a professional singer, and today I'm talking to Will Downing. Will is a beloved Grammy-nominated R&B jazz singer and just released his 21st studio album. We started out by discussing how Singer to Singer came to be. I came up with this idea of doing interviews of background singers. Mm-hmm. And I wanted it to be like a recurring article in Rolling Stone or in Billboard or something like that.
Oh, cool.
And backstory, I actually have a degree in journalism, but was singing throughout college and decided to stick with music instead of pursuing that career. Because I was fascinated. I interviewed Lisa Fisher. I interviewed, a bunch of just like great people.
Now, do you still have it?
I still have all that stuff, but then, of course, like 4 or 5 years later, 20 Feet from Stardom comes out, and I'm like, I got that idea.
It's like they stole my idea.
I'm not claiming they jacked my idea.
Well,
I'm just saying great minds think alike. That's all I'm saying. Mm-hmm. That's all I'm saying. So I love talking to singers. I love the common threads that we have beyond just music and all that stuff. So, of course, in working with you, you're top of mind. So you are my inaugural guest. I'm with Will Downing.
I made it.
He's been a sweetheart to actually be my first guest, so I really
appreciate it. I live up the street, so
I know.
It was convenient.
Okay, it's true. It's really, listen, I tell him all that. I think I've sung on about 7 of your records. I think it's about that. And I always tease you that the only reason I get the call is because I'm 10 minutes away.
No.
He's married to an amazing singer.
Who's right upstairs.
He just kicks her out of the bed and into the studio. So that's one. He has a fabulous daughter who's pursuing a musical theater career. So if, she feels like being around, he'll use her. And then there's Coda the dog.
Well, yeah.
And, but Coda's very temperamental. So sometimes, he's not into singing. So then I get the 4th call.
You're right.
I'm call number 4.
You're behind the dog.
Exactly.
I'm behind the dog.
Okay.
It sounds like a show.
Listen,
behind the dog.
I'm very grateful. I'm grateful when Coda's in the mood. I'll take it. But, a lot of people already know about you, and if they were lucky enough to catch Unsung back in the middle of 2018, right?
Correct.
They got to see a side of you that I don't think a lot of people, I've worked with you for many years, and you are hilarious. You're charming, of course, talented.
Well, you were doing so well.
Yeah.
hilarious.
But I always thought of you as a very private person too. How did you feel about actually revealing some very personal things in your life, just in general?
I thought it was therapeutic for me, and as you said, a lot of people don't know anything beyond what I do. They just know me as a guy that's up on the stage, and then you never see me anywhere. Hopefully you don't hear too many bad things about me. So, yeah, I mean, I'm older now, and folks need to know your life story. And I've always enjoyed the show, so it was an opportunity for me to say what's been on my mind, on my heart, and as opposed to paying someone to sit on there or lie on their on their couch and at $100-something an hour.
Right.
I just told it to the world.
So you grew up in Brooklyn.
Right.
And fast forward a few years, I know you ended up at Erasmus High School, right?
Correct.
And
luckily.
Yeah. which was a performing arts high school?
Yeah, okay. It was a performing arts high school. Yeah.
And so that was by choice you ended up there? Like
it was by luck.
Really?
I was in junior high school, and a teacher heard me. That's when, you had music programs, and you had to either play an instrument or you had to sing. So they put me in the choir, and I was singing, and a teacher walked by, walking up and down the aisles, and heard me and just said, I think you have something a little special. And they put me into this program, basically, and then I started singing on the weekends just to appease my mother, because I wanted to go outside and play. So I did that, and then it was time to go to high school, and I was going to go to my zoned high school. And then I ran into this teacher again. It was like, I can get you into this other school that's an art school. And, of course, my mother, once again, or my parents are like, yeah, well, he's going to go and he's going to audition. And I went there, and was the dumbest kid probably, or the least talented kid there. All the other kids read music and played instruments. And I got up there and I sang. And then lo and behold, a letter comes to the house. You got in. I'm like, how? But
wow.
I ended up going.
Yeah.
And then I started liking it. Then I started loving it.
It's interesting. I watched the Quincy documentary a few days ago. Have you seen it yet on
I
Netflix?
have not.
And I was sort of envious. Like, I got real emotional watching it because he talks about just how this was the only path for him. It was either that or being a gangster in the South Side of Chicago. There was no other choice, and he broke into some room at some place, and there was a piano, and he just started playing it. He just it fell in love immediately. And you run into those people all the time in our industry, people who just knew from day one. That was never me.
No,
Yeah. So then for those of us who like just chance upon it, and then it really does become your life, I find that even more interesting. Like, how do you, because this is a rough business. When you entered high school and you were like, I really like this, I really love it. Like, what was that turning point for you? How did you know at that young an age? Because I don't think I still knew till I was 30 that this is what I loved.
I didn't know in high school. I mean, I just kind of went along with the program. I was never the brightest kid in school, and I just went along with it. And when it was time to graduate, I wasn't going to do this. I was going into the Marines. Yeah, I was going into the service. Me and my buddy, we were going to do the 30. It was called the Buddy Buddy program, where you put in 20 years together. And that was our plan. But the only problem is when I went down to the recruiter's office, they looked and they said, you're 17. And I took the paper home, and my parents would not sign it. And so I was stuck. And I was like, well, what am I going to do now? And then I ran into that same exact teacher again. And then he said, I know a college down in Richmond, and they want music students. I was like, I can't stay home. So I'm going to, go to the school. So I ended up going to school and studying music there. And then I came back home, and I went back to school. And then by chance, a buddy of mine got, some sort of a record deal with someone and invited me along. And that was the beginning. So it's all kind of by like happenstance.
Yeah.
Nothing was planned like I'm gonna. It was like, it just sort of happened.
Soon after, your life changed again, where you did end up getting married and sort of had to take a step back from your career.
Right.
And were you a paralegal? But I know you worked at a law firm, right?
I was a phone operator.
Okay, at a law firm, right?
You're giving me way too much credit with the paralegal thing. Nice try, though. Well, hell of a try.
It was at a law firm. Listen, there's some credit you get for that. So, so I know life changed a little bit. Then your career picked back up, and
well, I was doing things, singing backgrounds. My girlfriend at the time, I was 19, got pregnant. And I had a day job at the time, and I was singing at night, doing stuff, and she got good and pregnant.
No denying it.
And there was no denying about
No
it.
denying it.
Yeah, it's not like you had too many meals or anything like, you're pregnant.
Yeah, pretty much.
And so we ended up getting married. And so I had to dedicate most of my time to working and supporting my family.
Yeah.
But then again, just by happenstance, just started getting calls from friends. Hey, come sing on this. Hey, come sing on this. Hey, can you show up here? Can you? And then, just the process, just the way it is. Everything for me in my life in this business has been because of someone else.
So I know you go to Europe. You actually had more success in Europe at first, right?
Yeah,
in the UK.
Yeah.
And sort of made your name there, then come back here.
Right.
So I'm going to fast forward a little bit for you.
Okay.
So what album are we on now? How many studio recording albums?
I just released number 21.
You're pretty much good for about an album a year, which not a lot of artists do.
Yeah.
Is it just because you love the process of making records?
I'm not smart and good looking. Like you and some of the other people I know. This all I got.
No, please. No, but for real. Like,
Louise, for those who are, I call it Louise.
Yeah.
LaJuan, this is all I got. This is it.
I will say, I have many nicknames. You are singularly the only person who calls me Louise.
Well, I was like,
so,
who?
But, so, album 21. And this one's really special. It's The Promise.
Yes.
Right? And talk a little bit about what that title means and really what the whole project means.
The Promise is, my mom is not like ultra religious, but she has been on me to do a gospel album pretty much since I started. And I've been putting it off. So I've been promising her I'm going to make this record. And in 2006, 2007, I got like that other kind of sick, like crazy sick.
Yeah.
Like deathbed sick.
Yep.
And when I was laying in the hospital, I like when you beg and you plead, even when you drink too much the night before. Lord, you get this off of me. I will. Lord, if you. I had about 8 months to kind of like plead my case with God. Mm-hmm. And I said, Lord, if you get me out of this bed, you get me out of this position, I promise you, I will do a record. I will glorify your name. We're going to spread the good word. We're going to bring more people toward us. So that's what the promise is. I promised God. I promised Mom. I've seen what God can do. He done smacked me once. I'm like, you ain't got to smack me again. Let me keep my word.
So this was a 12-year promise for, you said 2006, right?
Yeah, 2006 or 2007.
Okay, right. So 18, basically.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Carry one.
Yeah, exactly.
Long time.
Right. That's why we're singers. And for people who don't know, so you ended up it was an illness called
polymyositis, which is an autoimmune disease. And for those who don't know what autoimmune means, it means when your cells attack each other.
Right.
So my B cells attack my C cells from a technical standpoint, and it took away my ability to walk, move, that.
And so no idea, once they diagnosed it, no idea how this came to be? Nobody else in your family had it?
Nope.
It wasn't due to travel?
Well, that's what they say.
Uh-huh.
That I had left the country, I'd gone to South Africa, and they said something, either I ingested, something happened, and my system just couldn't handle it.
Yeah. So 12 years later, you finally, after you sort of dealt with this, and just to go back a little bit, you actually put out a record from your hospispittal bed, right?
Yeah.
You had a #1 single, right? That was it God Is So Amazing?
Yeah, God Is So Amazing, yeah.
Right,
yeah.
which was sort of addressing that.
Because I thought that was it.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, they had pretty much written me off. They was like, they kept telling Audrey, my wife, listen, odds are not in his favor. And so I was like, well, if this is it, let me see if I can get myself right, and maybe I can get in. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that's how
when you listen to that song, I mean,
I can't.
I
can't.
It's
I
really
cannot.
For people who know your voice inside and out.
Oh,
it doesn't even sound like you.
Nope, that was the best I could do at that time.
Yeah.
But you give it all you got. That's
it. What do you think it'll take for you to actually go back and listen to that?
I can't.
You can't.
It's for anyone that says, and I liken this to people in the military when they say, "Oh, I did service, and and I'm okay now," and it's like, that PTS, that's real.
Yeah.
Because it just, as soon as you hear something, it takes you right back to that moment.
Yeah.
And it just messes with me mentally.
Yeah.
So I can never listen to the whole song without like breaking down. I'd be in here boo-hooing. I'd be balled up in the corner like a child in a fetal position. Yeah, I can't. I just can't listen to it.
It's funny how you can hear your heart in that song.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't sound like the Will that everybody knows,
mm-hmm.
but I think the sincerity of the situation comes through in that song.
Yeah.
It's pretty powerful.
Thank you.
So back on to The Promise.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite song on that record?
Probably God Is So Amazing. Because I remade it.
You remade it, yeah.
Yeah, because it showed where I was, if you go back and listen to the original, and where I am now.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's amazing to me.
Yeah.
To know that, like, I'm knocking at death's door back in 2007, and now here I am in 2019 now.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Well, if you don't mind, we're going to play a little bit of that.
Sure. Let it go. Turn loose.
Imagine someone who can change everything in your life. Someone who can take all your wrongs and make them right. He can ease all your pain and strife if you just dedicate your life to Christ.
Well, as you can see, Will and I like to talk, so stick around for part 2 of my conversation with Will Downing, where we talk about new artists on the scene and what's up next for him. Singer to Singer is created by yours truly, LaJuan Carter, with associate producer Dana Harris. If you enjoyed this interview, please like and subscribe and go to singer2singer.com. That's singer2singer.com for updates on future interviews with other fantastic vocalists and other Singer to Singer projects.